On tonight's CTV News, we're on the up. As the interest rates rise means the Kiwi dollar looks set to follow, putting the pinch on local exporters. Landlords are urged not to raise rents. And an historic cottage rises from the earthquake rubble. This is CTV News, I'm Grant Mangan. A higher Kiwi dollar means low spirits for manufacturers and exporters following an official cash rate rise. Reserve Bank Governor Graham Wheeler lifted the rate from 2.5 to 2.75% yesterday in a move to control inflation. Patrick Phelps reports.
Contex Engineers makes mechanical parts for factories in New Zealand and high-tech exporting companies. Over 19% of their supplies go to exporting companies, very vulnerable to the volatility of the Kiwi dollar. Managing Director Brian Willoughby says the interest rate itself doesn't affect exporters, but the flow-on effect on the dollar does.
Exporter, all it does is take away my profit margin. I can't afford to put my prices up, and I'm in a very competitive market overseas in which there's no inflation.
Mr Willoughby says while a higher dollar against the greenback saves some money on purchasing, that doesn't nearly cancel out the losses in revenue.
You're talking about a change in the big number, which is my sales value, versus a change in my small number, which is my purchasing cost. So, no, it damages us severely.
For manufacturers who export products like these mechanical parts, a small bump in currency can mean a big loss in profits. Chief Executive of the Manufacturers and Exporters Association, John Wally, says this affects such exporters greatly.
The currency bounced 2 cents yesterday, it's back a cent today, but that's around about 1% from revenue for somebody who's highly weighted in US dollars. 1% could be 10% of profit pre-tax, and so it's a big impact on all businesses that export.
Brian Willoughby says he can respond to the rises, but it takes time.
For many years we've been taking the steps of improving our productivity, changing designs so that things are easier and cheaper to make, changing products so that you've got an opportunity to have a price rise.
John Wally says given so much of our economy hinges on the strength of the dollar, more policy work needs to be done.
Ultimately, if there is no policy effort in New Zealand to reduce the volatility or have an exchange rate where both sides, that's the import and the export side of the economy, can win, then the inevitable is going to happen. It's going to be all the more variable.
And Mr Willoughby says that doesn't paint a promising picture for him or his 20-odd employees.
Almost all of my competitors worldwide ship their business offshore to get it made. And in the end, that's what happens to people like me. We get forced to go offshore.
Contex Engineering alone accounts for $3 to $4 billion of GDP. Patrick Phelps, CTV News.
Environment Canterbury is advising residents to be prepared with emergency kits and listen to local weather forecasts for updates in preparation for the cyclone arriving this weekend.
Cantabrians are still mopping up from last week's storm, and the Christchurch City Council are on high alert to make sure the city is up to date with information over the weekend. Mayor Leanne Dowsau came under fire about the handling of last week's storm by the Spraydon Heathcote Community Board member Rick Tyndall. Now the council are going to all lengths to make sure they don't get caught in the dark again.
We want our city to be prepared for what could happen this weekend.
Which means communication is key for the council, who will be working with the community and media providing updates on the weather.
And we will also be asking our councillors and community board members and community leaders to be a two-way mechanism for our community to contact us, but also for us to be able to communicate with the community.
The Army are on standby if needed, as well as places for people to take refuge should they need to evacuate their homes.
We are on standby to set up 4 welfare centres if they were required.
Last week a cliff collapsed in the Littleton area, forcing 19 homes to be evacuated and triggered over 1,500 litres of fuel to seep into Littleton's harbour. But the weekend storm isn't likely to bring a repeat of that.
As far as we know from our geotech guys, the cliff face is stable. And should not cause us a great deal of concern.
The weather will come from the north, where a tropical cyclone Lucy is expected to hit, causing slips, surface flooding and damage. It'll weaken as it moves south to Canterbury in the early hours of Sunday morning, but Met Service is still warning Cantabrians to be prepared.
With ground so sodden, it doesn't take as much to potentially cause some problems. So it is something that Cantabrians, particularly folks around Christchurch, keep an eye on the weather, and of course if we issue any watches and warnings, heed those.
Last week the flood was plagued by high tide, hitting as the heart of the storm hit Christchurch. But this time around they're not expecting to have an impact.
Information we've got that the high tide on Sunday is around 5 in the morning, so actually when the storm comes through the tide will be going out, so actually will be very helpful, and it's not a particularly high tide this weekend either.
Emma Cropper, CTV News.
Tenants are urging landlords not to use increased council rates and rising mortgage interest rates as an excuse to charge more for rentals.
The Tenants Protection Association fears landlords faced with increasing interest rates and larger bills for their property rates will increase rental prices. But as the press reports, the Canterbury Property Investors Association says landlords should be able to absorb both increases. The association told the press they believe the increases would make some would-be landlords reconsider whether or not it was a good time to invest. Due to high post-quake demand, Christchurch rents have been rising about 12% a year. The Tenants Protection Association is urging landlords to keep rent prices as they are.
And landlords and property managers that like the opportunity to increase rents. And property managers some property managers are seen to be encouraging landlords to ask more for their properties than what a landlord possibly would. So it's got a lot of ramifications for people that are already borderline. Accommodation supplement is at the maximum.
Canterbury doctors are urging locals to get their flu vaccination ahead of the winter weather.
Winter is just around the corner and Cantabrians are being urged to get vaccinated.
It's important to get the flu vaccination. It's always important to get this before flu actually starts to enter into the community.
One of Canterbury's top doctors is warning that with wet weather hitting Christchurch over the past couple of weeks, it's important now more than ever.
Given the fact that our city not only is recovering from earthquakes, but also has been pretty hard hit by recent floods and potentially again this weekend, it's just a very good reminder that protecting ourselves as soon as we can is really important so that we can stay well over the winter.
Dr Pink says there are many myths in the community about the influenza injection causing the flu.
The flu vaccine doesn't give you the flu, that the flu vaccine is updated every year because the flu virus changes all the time and it's matched to those viruses that we see in the community in the northern hemisphere, so that the vaccine is actually created to be appropriate for what we will see in our southern hemisphere flu season.
A huge push has been given to children under 5 and pregnant women to be vaccinated as the cold weather approaches. Emma Cropper, CTV News.
The National Party's 16th annual Blue Greens Forum will be held in Kaikoura this weekend. The Blue Greens are a National Party group conscious of the environment. The forum will run from 9 till 5 on Saturday the 15th of March. It will feature speeches by Conservation Minister Nick Smith and Environment Minister Amy Adams. Earthquake Minister Jerry Brownlee will speak on building a cleaner, greener Christchurch. Coming up, one of the oldest historic places in the region is being officially reopened after earthquake repairs tomorrow.
Get your own copy of the Spates Coast to Coast 2014 coverage highlights. Relive the action, recall the pain, and review the results. Call CTV now on 3777 033 and order a copy today.
Christchurch has its very own enchanted utopia, the Hitching Post. Pop in and see for yourself. A magical assortment of handmade creations, custom-made candles and artwork. Choose from our huge range of water features, garden art and imported giftware. Specialists in handcrafted metal artwork made in store. Nestled on 722 Marshlands Road. The Hitching Post, defining art our way.
At Lamb & Haywood, we're committed to providing you with the very best environment at your time of greatest need. You can choose from the best facilities in Canterbury, our recently refurbished West Park Chapel, the Kerrs Road Chapel in Eastern Christchurch, or perhaps Waimana Chapel in Rangiora. However you remember, commemorate or celebrate the life of your loved one, whether it's an intimate group or a grand send-off, the choice is yours. Lamb & Haywood, a tradition of caring.
Avoid the cowboys when it comes to relocating. Trust A1 Movers, a family business since 1993 that guarantees a professional job every time. We carefully handle and wrap your valued items, ensuring they have a safe journey. Secure storage and insurance options also available.
A1 Movers, the careful, caring, moving company.
3799799. Remember the nights, go Blue Star.
Our new companion package is a personalised service for those that need extra help and support. A cost-effective solution for someone who needs more than just a taxi driver. Our drivers are handpicked from our experienced team and specialise in providing the right support and companionship. Home safe every time with Blue Star Taxis.
Hi, Rob Coate-Williams. Join me with Rob's Country every Friday at 7:30 in the evening when I take you out of town and talk about anything that's country. Rob's Country, Friday at 7:30.
The first interest rate rise in 4 years means homeowners are being given a clear message to fix their mortgage rates now. Reserve Bank Governor Graham Wheeler raised the official cash rate from 2.5 to 2.75%. As the OCR rises, banks increase mortgage interest rates.
Floating mortgage rates are currently about 5.75%. But if the Reserve Bank moves the official rate, as expected, it could rise further to 8% or higher. A rise of 1 percentage point by the end of the year would add $20 a week to mortgage payments for every $100,000 borrowed. ANZ responded to the rise immediately by lifting its floating and flexible home loan rates to 5.99% and 6.10% respectively. It also increased the interest rate earned by savers on its main deposit product, Serious Saver, to 3.9%. Other banks haven't followed suit yet, but they're signalling they will do so soon. Harcourt's chief executive doesn't expect higher interest rates to have too much effect on Christchurch's housing market due to the shortage of homes. He says until construction keeps up with demand, house prices will remain high despite interest rate hikes. Prime Minister John Key says homeowners will be hit in the pocket by the rate rise, but it is the result of a strong economy. The OCR has been at an extreme low of 2.5% since early 2009, apart from a small blip in 2010. Mortgage rates have been at their lowest in 50 years.
Perpetual delays, pure frustration and lack of control pushed 200 homeowners to attend a meeting about a class action against insurer Southern Response. Grant Cameron is leading GCA lawyers in the case claiming a breach of contract due to unjustifiable delays in processing and settling earthquake claims.
Many people the press spoke to at the meeting, held at the Westpac Hub last night, still don't know if their homes will be repaired or rebuilt. One couple spent $200,000 altering their Mount Pleasant home, hoping to downsize and sell for retirement. The couple say the earthquake wrecked their house, and negotiations with their insurer have failed to reach a satisfactory outcome. Like many claimants see class action as a last resort. It's hoped a class action will break the impasse over housing insurance. Honour Your Policy Action Group urges homeowners not to be intimidated. Some homeowners feel joining a legal fight could threaten their insurance prospects. The Action Group wishes to readdress the balance of power.
Earlier in the week, CTV News revealed Christchurch suburbs had received upwards of $60,000 for transitional projects post-quake. But one of the worst hit suburbs, New Brighton, has only had $3,500 spent on it so far. A New Brighton couple says the whole suburb needs a facelift, including the beaches. Marcus Gibbs reports.
North New Brighton Beach was quite the postcard picture this morning as Kathy Smith and Max Dodge took their dogs for a walk. But the couple were disappointed to find rubbish littering the site, empty cans from a party on the beach and several large piles of driftwood.
If you're going to have a beach that looks like a rubbish dump, I don't even blame people for treating it like a rubbish dump.
The couple says diggers were on the beach 2 days ago, hiding the driftwood under the sand, but they left behind 3 large exposed piles.
This is what they scraped up, and you can see they've hidden it very well. There's 3 piles on this particular beach.
Is it all from the storm?
This is accumulated rubbish from the last 12 months.
Max then showed me where the wood had been buried by the diggers.
Here we are. Right, it's all the way through the place. It's hiding stuff isn't good enough. You have to clean it up. And it's not going to cost a lot of money to put this into a truck and cart it away.
Christchurch City Council staff have taken full responsibility for the wood piles and the buried material.
I noticed there was some piles down one end by the hall there. I mean, that could have been put away better, but basically we bury that stuff rather than having to have the cost of getting rid of it. Trucking it away, we're trying to keep the cost down.
With a predicted storm hitting Christchurch's shores this weekend, Chambers says the council's aim was to protect New Brighton streets.
A few times a year we dig that sand out and put it back on the beach because it builds up on those stone fences and blows over and starts being a nuisance. So we have removed some sand off the stone walls, but we put it back in front of the sand fences there to help buffer that for this arriving storm.
But some of the wood buried in the sand still had nails sticking out.
Someone could stand on that, you know. There's people come down here and try and use this beach, and it's just a disgrace, really.
Despite the council's efforts to clean up the beach, it was also covered in driftwood at the start of the summer. It didn't seem like anyone had prepared the place for the tourists and locals to enjoy.
I think New Brighton Beach is really one of the greatest assets that Christchurch has. And it's just unfortunate that at the moment it's a dog's toilet.
Out of the council's Transitional Projects Fund, $33,000 has been allocated for New Brighton Mall. Max and his partner Kathy want the council to invest more into the suburb. Other locals agree the beach needs a clean up.
After the storms and the flooding, there's always a lot of driftwood parked up.
And there are sometimes some broken bottles and things around. They've got some diggers on the beach sometimes, so there's obviously a bit of a problem there with the driftwood and stuff.
Come Monday, it's anyone's guess to what state the beach will be in once the storm hits. Marcus Gibbs, CTV News.
A local musician has made it into the finals for an international song competition. Christchurch 5-piece rock band The Duke's song Sweet has made the final selection in the adult contemporary genre. Patrick Phelps spoke to songwriter Matt Barris.
Sign that'll never come from you. You might as well be in another world.
Matt Barris wrote the single here in Christchurch, and now it's getting attention abroad.
So there's this competition called the International Songwriting Competition, and each year it's based out of the States, and each year they sort of give awards to the top writers in each category.
The inspiration for the song came from critiquing the Kiwi she'll be right attitude.
Maybe not delving into deeper things, but just sort of, oh, she'll be sweet sort of thing. So it's sort of just a little, you know, maybe people should go a little bit deeper than just she'll be right.
Matt Barris says there's no set way he comes up with the song.
I usually just muck around and get a little tune, and for some reason that's what I was thinking about at the time, and just, you know, being more straight up. So that's what I was thinking about, yeah.
Since the song was written, the Dukes have gone their separate ways, but Matt Barris is still writing with the band's former keyboard artist.
Cotton Cottage has been tucked away in Hororata for the past 150 years, though it barely survived the September earthquake in 2010. Being one of the oldest historic places in the region, pulling the entire cottage down wasn't considered an option. The local community and the Hororata Historical Society played a huge role in the cottage's survival. The cottage was deconstructed to its foundations, retaining as much of its heritage fabric as possible. The cottage is having an official reopening on Saturday. Still to come, we have the weekend sport traffic and weather updates.
Arts 21 showcases the vast creative talent and minds that are making a name for themselves in Europe and beyond. Think outside the square with Arts 21. Monday morning at 10:30.
Hurst Auto Dismantlers, your one-stop shop for all your mechanical and car part needs. Our huge premises boasts a large selection of mechanical parts, panels, tyres and glass. Most makes and models are available on site, and if we don't have it, our trusted staff will do their best to source what you need locally and nationwide. So come in and see the team, or just give us a call and save time and money. Hurst Auto Dismantlers, 343 0099.
At Lamb & Haywood, we're committed to providing you with the very best environment at your time of greatest need. You can choose from the best facilities in Canterbury, our recently refurbished West Park Chapel, the Kerrs Road Chapel in Eastern Christchurch, or perhaps Waimana Chapel in Rangiora. However you remember, commemorate or celebrate the life of your loved one, whether it's an intimate group or a grand send-off, the choice is yours. Lamb & Haywood, a tradition of caring.
My son's helped me greatly with my independence now that I've got more mobility.
Mum, I've been looking into stand assist chairs from More Mobility. They recline back with a footrest, then when you want to get out of them, they stand you up. You can even sleep on them. More Mobility can bring one out for a free trial. There's even electric beds too. What do you think? For more range and more expert advice, see More Mobility, corner Clarence and Princess Streets off Blenheim Road.
What a difference more mobility makes.
Hi, I'm Caitlin, the naturopath here at Staywell Pharmacy. Working with the pharmacist, I use herbal and nutritional medicine to recommend natural alternatives for your health. This can be to counteract any side effects of your medication, general health advice, or natural options for you and your family. I'm also available for consultations. So come in and see us at Staywell Pharmacy, 27 Shands Road, Hornby. Staywell Pharmacy, live well, stay well.
Be immersed in the unique cultural highlights Germany has to offer every Tuesday night with Discover Germany. Tuesday at 7 p.m, right here on CTV.
With the weekend in hand, here's a preview of the upcoming weekend's sporting action.
In just their fourth game of this season's Super Rugby season, the Crusaders will start their third different option at first five for tonight's match against the Rebels in Melbourne. Colin Slade will get his chance to show what he can bring to the table tonight as he makes the move from the fullback role he has filled for the past two games. That means Israel Dagg moves back to his preferred position at fullback, with Nafi Tuatavaki returning from injury to play on the right wing. Andy Ellis gets the nod at halfback, with Mitchell Drummond on the bench for the injured Willie Hines. Corey Flynn is another player out due to injury this weekend, which will see Ben Funnell start at hooker, while Cody Taylor is on the bench as cover. After grabbing their first win of the season last weekend at home to the Stormers, the Crusaders will be looking to go on a run as they take on a very beatable Rebels side who have started their season with a win and a loss. The match gets underway tonight at 9:40 our time. Over 200 of the top mountain bike riders from Oceania will be in action at Mount Hutt this weekend for the 2014 Oceania Mountain Bike Championships. Top riders will be finding it out for valuable UCI points, which are up for grabs as they look to improve their world rankings and gain qualifying points for other events around the globe. One rider after those points is North Canterbury's 19-year-old Anton Cooper, who will compete in the elite cross-country event. Cooper is currently ranked 38th in the world and 4th in the under-23 category. With 200 UCI points up for grabs, a win would move Cooper inside the top 20. However, he will be up against a tough field of riders, including top Australian Daniel McConnell, who finished 21st at the London Olympics and is now ranked number 4 in the world. Tomorrow's cross-country race starts at 9 a.m, with Sunday's cross-country eliminator at 1 p.m, and the spectacular downhill event getting underway at 2 p.m. The Canterbury Wizards completed their highest ever run chase on Wednesday when they chased down Otago's total of 327 with just 4 balls to spare. The win moves Canterbury into second spot in the 50-over competition after 4 rounds, with the team in action again tomorrow when they travel to Auckland and look to move 1 win closer to securing a spot in the competition final. Other Canterbury teams in action this weekend include our netballers the Tactics, who make the long journey to Perth to take on the West Coast Fever. That match gets underway just after 4 p.m. on Sunday our time. And finally tonight, the Mainland Rally Championship begins its 38th year tomorrow with the Westland Rally. The rally will comprise of 9 special stages between Greymouth and Hokitika as drivers look to make a good start to the championship, which will feature 5 rounds this year. You're up to date with the latest in local sport. I'm Gordon Finlater for CTV Sport.
If you're driving around the central city, CTV's traffic update will assist you navigating the repairs taking place.
Hello travellers, to help you plan your journey around the central city, here's an update on what's happening with the roads next week in the city centre. Work on the following one-way streets within the city continues this week, with many being down to 1 lane. This will make the morning and evening journey slower, so we advise to allow extra time. Barbados Street, Durham Street North, Madras Street, St Asaph Street, Salisbury Street. We recommend the following routes to get around town. When heading north, Montreal Street, Fitzgerald Avenue for north and southbound travel. For east and westbound travel, we recommend using Beeley Avenue and Morehouse Ave. Stay tuned this week for more updates on what's happening with the central city roads, and in the meantime, visit the Transport for Christchurch website.
And finally tonight, your regional weather.
Kia ora everyone. An anticyclone remains over the South Island today but is weakening as an ex-tropical cyclone thunders towards the North Island from the Pacific. Now for the weather in your area. Kaikoura, cloud increasing and rain developing during the afternoon with freshening easterly winds. Tonight's low 13 degrees, tomorrow's high 16. Hanma, a mostly cloudy Saturday ahead with the cloud lowering during the afternoon. Ahead of rain expected tomorrow night. Tonight's low 13, tomorrow's high 18 degrees. Cloud increasing and thickening in North Canterbury with some rain developing tomorrow evening or night. Expect freshening easterly winds. Tonight's low 13, tomorrow's high 18 degrees. Fog or low cloud patches tonight in Christchurch, but clearing to reveal increasing high cloud tomorrow and humid easterly winds. Some rain expected tomorrow night. Tonight's low 13, tomorrow's high 18 degrees. Ashburton, a humid Saturday ahead with increasing cloud and easterly breezes. You can expect a low of 13 degrees tonight and tomorrow a high of 18 degrees. Timaru, a dry Saturday expected for you with cloud increasing and lowering during the day. Moderate easterly winds developing. Tonight a low of 13 degrees, tomorrow a high of 18. Let's take a look at other areas now. While the general consensus for most is cloudy and dull. Temperatures ranging in the mid to high teens. Greymouth and Akaroa can expect the high of 19 degrees. Looking ahead for Canterbury, cloudy on Sunday with periods of rain. Light at first, heaviest falls around the middle of the day. Rain easing early afternoon and clearing mid to late afternoon. Totals of around 20 to 30 millimetres are expected, with around 15 to 18 millimetres possible in a 3-hour period around midday. Easterly winds will be fresh to strong between about 9 a.m. and 3 p.m, but easing from mid-afternoon and tending northerly late afternoon. You can expect it to be mild and humid. Fine and sunny periods and high cloud on Monday, mild and humid with moderate northerly winds freshening during the afternoon. And that's your weather update for Friday. Enjoy your weekend.
And that is CTV News for Friday. I'm Grant Mangan. Good night.
Supporting local content so you can see more of New Zealand on air.